Hi guys. So you've kind of roughly got about, I think it's all kinds of crazy statistics that you can Google, but you've got something like in the region of about 11 to 12 minutes to win people over before you lose their attention completely. You've probably already made your minds up on me based on the last 30 seconds, right? We're a hard bunch to please. So one of the first things I ask people if they wouldn't mind doing doesn't necessarily go down too well. So I'm always quite nervous asking it, but hey, we're here to have quite a big conversation and you're all interested around your energy, mental health, tools that you guys can take away with you. So it's very relevant for me to request this, to ask this. And that is, if you have a mobile phone, can I ask if it is easy access in a pocket, and if you feel like, hey, I quite often reach for it, can I ask that you don't put it on silent, but that you actually turn your phone off, if you know how? Don't ever, seriously, don't ever ask this of like a bunch of like 13-year-olds. They're like, sir, I don't know how. And let me give you context, because this is an exchange, and I always respect that whenever walking into any space and trying to build a container. The reason I ask this, and I'm a human performance coach, so I look at things as from a performance point of view, but then, hey, there's a human behind that, right? So from a performance perspective, which I'm sure you guys are really interested in, there's something that occurs when you task switch. If you were focused on me, and then suddenly you go and look at your phone, and then try and come back to focus on me again, there's something called residue. And that residue stops you from being able to give your full attention to the original task. Now, I'm not saying I deserve your attention. I'm not saying I'm going to get all of your attention. Far from it, because that'd be arrogant of me. But I just like to try and set up the space as best as possible. I'm sure you all understand this, right? Like, you've all felt it. And I suppose that's the human perspective. Like, hey, when I see you check your phone, I wonder what I've done wrong. I wonder why I'm not interesting. I wonder why you don't like me. Like, I'm human. And I'm sure there's people in this room, like, hands up, like, if you sat there across a table from someone, right? Like, have you sat there at dinner or like a party, or you've been talking to someone in the hallway, or your boss, or a colleague, or something like that, and so they've looked at your phone, looked back, and then you're actually kind of going, hey, like, I'm here. Have you ever felt that before? Yeah? Amazing. So we're going to play the hands up game, right? Like, I've got to keep your energy going, and it's always good to understand how that is deteriorating as I move forward. So when I say hand up, I'm like, hand up. You can. I trust you. If you feel that you can't be, like, again, right? I'm just like, it's up to you guys. Like, if you feel it's something you can do, absolutely do it. But it's just, dude, you write some notes then. You write. If I see your social media-ing, there's going to be trouble though. It's all good. Your name is Heather. It's fine. Absolutely fine. Thank you for asking. So that's it. Like I said. So yeah, arms up, right? That's how we operate. So. My name is Chevy. I am the founder of ChasingProjects. Essentially, we work from prisons to boardrooms, helping organizational leaders get the attention of their communities. Because before you can teach anyone anything, you need their attention. So we kind of work on that, and that's a lot around the kind of language required, understanding that, hey, like, there are a million different ways up the mountain. How do we start to simplify that message? And then once we've got their attention, we kind of offer talks, workshops, and so forth on basic physiological tools that people have with them here and now to start to influence how they feel. I personally, if I'm one-on-one coaching anymore, I work with operators. Operators are first responders, emergency warfare, special warfare teams, CEOs, my mum, right? Like, what is an operator to me? An operator is someone who basically can stay calm and focused under fire and make better decisions. And I'm sure, who actually runs their own business in here? Hands up. It's always just really interesting. Cool. Thank you. I told you. No, I'm joking. So that's kind of what I do, and that's where I spend kind of a little bit of my time. And then as an organization, over 50% of what we do is free. And the reason we do that is just because you can't afford my services doesn't mean you don't have the access or right to this conversation. So through Chasing Change, we provide a live experience, audio experience, video experience for people. And it's basically how do we take all our content, all our narrative, and try and spit it out into the world as frictionless as possible so anyone can consume it. So it's very much about how we can give back. So today, it's really important to kind of try and set a North Star, as it were. It would be so arrogant of me to walk into this room and think that I can change your perception of mental health or of stress or of energy. And we kind of realize we can't do that. I've got 45 minutes to an hour in here. So our mission whenever walking into environments like this is trying to just create some light bulb moments where you guys, or some of you guys, realize that you have all the tools you need to put stress to good use, feel in control of your own health, and optimize energy for life. If I can get 30 or 40% of you walking away with just like a moment, like, oh, that makes sense, or oh, that's something I want to explore more, then we've succeeded. Because it's really hard walking into these spaces and talking around mental health. It genuinely scares me to death because you all have such different layers of mental and physical diversity. You all look at the world through such different and unique and beautiful lenses. When I say mental health to one of you, it's going to mean completely something different to another person. If I say breath to you, you might think, that's not for me, but hey, that might be a rabbit hole that you're loving right now. When I say exercise, oh, when I say running, yeah, the other guy's like, I ain't a runner, right? Jeez, like it's a very sensitive subject, and that's not even getting on to, hey, anxiety, depression, where we are with mental health, stress, burnout. So I can't please you all. So I give myself a get out of jail free card, which is, as an organization, we operate, when we first walk into a room with people, hey, we operate within the black and white. And we try and avoid the gray. And what I mean by that is there is a world out there on social media and influencers and organizations trying to hustle and sell you stuff continuously. Silver bullets, long-term solutions. I really genuinely hope that I build my craft to the point where I can walk into a room and the message we delivered means you never have to see me again. Because I buy into the fact that we have all the tools that we need to create the change that we desire, we want, we strive for in life. Cool? So by today, when I mean I'm going to operate in the black and white, that if I kind of cut into some conversation and I say something where you think, whoa, I disagree, or, oh, that's triggered me or spiked me, please come to me afterwards, or even better, put your hand up there and then, and let's have a discussion, because, hey, we can disagree, and we can still catch up and have a drink afterwards. That's okay. But if you do disagree with anything, or if something doesn't feel right, come to me and I'll give you context. And what also happens is, like, I am super passionate about this subject matter. The reason most of what I do is free because I just love to work with humans. So as I get here and my energy starts to build, sometimes I say shit and I'm like, I look back on it and I'm like, oh, maybe I should have said that a little bit differently. That's me learning my craft. So please come and give me a shout. Can we agree on that? Is that okay, guys? Yeah. And you get it right. Like, we've got to create a safe container in this space. Like, it's quite hard talking about mental health, right? And you guys can help me on this because I'm still figuring out why. So I'd be really interested if you guys could just spend a couple of seconds, and I know you've got to talk to the person next to you and it's late at night, but I'm like, if you work for your own, like, hey, connect with this. Maybe think of it as networking even. I don't know. But I just want you to spend a couple of minutes talking to the person next to you and just come up with some kind of thoughts around, like, why is it so complicated? Why is it so hard for us to sometimes, for some people, to have a conversation around mental health? Cool? Brilliant. Off you go. Introduce yourselves and off you go. Well, be careful. can you make a brief note of a few of the bullet points as they give answers? Is that all right? I just, in case I kind of go, Ollie, like... Is that all right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Good. 20 seconds. Good. Eyes on me. Thank you very much for talking to each other. I appreciate it. I used to come there, I honestly like, dude, like, even now, I'm like, dude, don't make me talk to humans. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I just want to sit here and just zone out. It's like, I'm like Netflix right now to some people. That sounds really, I've never said that in my life. I don't know what that means. I've been talking a lot about Netflix at the moment. So, guys, I'd love to get a couple of examples, and there's no right or wrong here, right? Like, it's just really good to kind of, you guys can help me figure this out, and it helps me figure out how to communicate to the rest of the world about this. Like, can I get a couple of examples? Who's brave enough to go first? Yes, sir, your name is?
Man.
How you doing, man?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, buddy, I'm good. Far away.
I was just talking about the sort of stigma around mental health, in particular with males. So it's just like, you know, if you're a guy, you're supposed to be like hard, I don't cry or I don't talk about that stuff. You know, it's just whatever it is, it bounces off me. So we're just talking about how, especially recently as well, it's sort of become a bit more prevalent. It's been talked about a lot more.
Appreciate it, bro, and thank you for going first as well. Like, I really appreciate that. So, guys, like stigma, right? Like, hands up if you feel kind of stigma is a challenging thing when it comes to talking about mental health. Hands up. Yeah. Again, so guys, I go in a lot of different directions when I'm talking. Like, I might not even get through these slides in the order that they're in. Like, I just move with the crowd. But interesting, so just to quickly, I've been talking about stigma a lot lately, and I've been talking about, so everyone's talking about, oh my God, unconscious bias is a big conversation at the moment, right? Like, everyone's talking about this, and I was talking to an MP the other day, and they've done a load of stuff with organizations around unconscious bias and definitely within the BAME community, like really some really interesting stuff coming on. I'm like, hey, what's the research saying at the moment around unconscious bias towards people in the workplace who talk about their mental health, talk about stress, right? It's like really interesting conversation. Again, something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, so, but thank you very much. Definitely the dude conversation as well. So I'm an ambassador for a men's mental health charity called Calm. So it's something that I love to talk about, so thank you. Can I get another one? Yes, your name is? Cecile. Hello, Cecile, how are you?
Good, thanks, you.
I'm all right, we're doing all right so far. Give it half an hour. Far away, Cecile.
We discussed that when you admit you have mental health issues, you're vulnerable, and vulnerable can be associated to being weak sometimes. And we don't want to be.
Oh, damn. Like, there's a whole other conversation around vulnerability, right? Does anyone else feel that? Right? Like, vulnerability is a big thing when it comes to opening up and talking about it. It's a big word. And funny enough, again, a word that actually we're exploring a lot as a collective at the moment, because it's a very powerful word. And so is lonely, by the way. Everyone's saying we're so disconnected. I'm like, BS, like, that's such a sterile, horrible word. I'm like, people are lonely right now. A lot of research around that as well. But that's amazing. Thank you very much. Vulnerability. One more. Yes, your name is?
Tara.
Hello, Tara. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you.
Weird.
I think it's a perception of other people, so people think hard work, so then they shy away. So I think hard work and not really wanting to deal with someone else's mental health. So if somebody says to me at work or someone else, like they've got mental health issues, people tend to shy away because they don't want to deal with it. Because they feel it's coming, something from them as well. So they automatically tend to sort of decide they want to have nothing to do with that person if they consider it hard work.
Yes.
They understand it and their vulnerability as well.
Yes, like, I mean, there's a lot of, thank you very much for sharing. There's a lot of angles to come at that from, right? I think sometimes as well people think, like, I really want to talk about it, but how is that going to impact the person that I'm talking to, right? And then also I think that people's cultural perceptions, sometimes their masks aren't so great. Like, they sit there and they kind of make you feel bad about the fact that you've spoken up, that, you know what I mean? Like so many different angles there. But no, thank you very much. I appreciate you and sharing that. Okay. So we appreciate it's a tricky subject to talk about, right? So what do you think us humans need from other human beings to be able to share? Does that make sense? What do we need sitting opposite someone? What do we need from them to help us open up, to help us share? We're going to do it in groups, but I appreciate the enthusiasm from both of you. Your name is? Thank you very much. Your name is? I appreciate that. You keep that trigger arm going. Right. So off you go, guys. Same thing, and we'll give it another minute or so. Off you go. Good. 20 seconds. Eyes on me. Thank you. It's the door. I don't know if it's anyone. You're going to get it? That's cool. Would you work here? Guys, let's go. So what do we feel we need from someone else? What do we think humans need from another individual before being able to kind of open up about how they feel? What did we come up with? Yes, your name is?
Kim.
Hello, Kim. How are you, Kim?
Good, yeah.
Thank you.
We were just saying that we work on our own, so another person would be handy. Have anyone to talk to.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. But yeah, like actually just having another person there in front of you, right, to share. Yeah, it kind of helps in this process. I mean, we've literally taken it quite literal. Like, I've got nothing smart to say about it, but I appreciate it. Yeah. But what would you need from, well, okay, so what would you need from, are you in a relationship? As I asked it, I went, I'm setting this up to go really bad. I like to get context off people, and it's like the best thing, but hey, is there someone... Is there? Because then you go no, and then it's like, I've got no one in my life. I've got no colleagues. Have you got friends? Yes, okay, bang. So you walk into a space with your friend, right? What do you feel that you need off of a friend?
Trust.
Bang. Trust. Guys, hands up if you feel trust is really important when it comes to opening up about your mental health. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. See what I mean? I talk like quicker than I think, and it gets me in so much trouble. Seriously. Guys, anyone else? Yes.
So we were just talking about if you can sense that somebody's actually going through some sort of emotional crisis and they're actually struggling to express themselves, and if we could try to put them our shoes into their shoes and perhaps try to see what we could do to make that person's life easy without actually making mention of them going through any sort. It's like you never say to a sensitive person, you're really sensitive. That's the common example. So in a similar way, if we try to perhaps empathize and try to do something to make them feel comfortable, let them open up if they can, give them that respect in every way possible. But you know, we're here for them, but without making mention that we're here for them.
Okay, I know. Thank you. And there's a couple of things that I heard within that. Firstly, I heard the word empathy. Right? We need empathy from humans. Like, tell me if empathy is important to you when entering into a conversation, that you want empathy from someone. I appreciate that. And it's the interesting one. So there's a lot to navigate in those sentences. But the thing that I'm hearing there is the need. I think one, I'm hearing that it's like hard, right? It's like eggshells sometimes. It's like, how can I show that I'm here without maybe attacking it directly head on? Like that's a whole complex, like absolutely, and I can actually cover that a little bit. But it's, the other thing I'm hearing is, what I heard in there is the need to be heard and not actually for you to say anything. Does that make sense? Like I think sometimes when we sit opposite people, and hey, I do this, you know that? Like you're talking, and you're sharing with me, and I'm like, oh, I've got something intelligent to say, bang. Like I'm trying to get in there now. I'm giving you the signals that it's time for you to be quiet, because it's my turn to talk. And that can come from a lot of different ways, right? It can come from ego, it can come from really caring, but sometimes when we're connecting or talking to a human, or we're selling to someone in our job, or we're trying to sell our organization, and we're so passionate, enthusiastic, we stop listening and we start wanting to speak. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah? Yeah? And I think the same thing goes in mental health. Like we've got as a human being that we love sitting opposite us, and we just want to put our arms around them and say, hey, like, I love you, and look how amazing your life is. And you want to tell them that. But hey, like FYI, that person is like, can't think about the bigger picture right now. They're just thinking about not going back to bed. Do you know what I mean? Like, and we want to sit there and tell them so many big stories and how they are, but it's like, they're just thinking about like surviving today. So maybe they just need to be heard. They've given you their voice, so hear it. So we had, is that cool? Yeah? Is that like that's the kind of things that I'm getting here. So we had trust. Well, this is Ollie, by the way. Ollie's our principal coach at Chasing Projects, and I did an awful job of not introducing him to my team. Hi, Ollie. It's Coach Ollie.
Another person.
Yes?
Yeah. Trust, empathy, and then actually listening.
Brilliant. So we trust, empathy, and listening. Okay. That sounds like a system to me. That sounds like a checklist to me. And when I walk into a space, I try and create a safe container. A safe container is a place where people feel they can communicate, good or bad, right? But when they walk out, everything that's said in this space is safe. Everything said is listened, is heard. So can we make a deal with each other that for the final kind of last half an hour to 45 minutes, that we agree when communicating with the other human being next to us, that we are going to listen, we're going to show empathy, and we are going to try and not speak. Yeah? 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 And show some trust. Is that cool, guys? Yeah? It's simple. I'm all about systems. I'm all about checklists. So, it's always an interesting question. And again, guys, really great to hear back from you. But I always like to know, what's the one thing you could do to reduce stress, improve health, and have more energy for tomorrow? If you could do one thing that you know works, I want to hear what that one thing is, and I want you to talk about it for 60 seconds with the person next to you. What's the one thing that you could do today to improve your relationship with stress, to improve health, and have more energy for tomorrow? Off you go. I hope you can find something. No, it's great. It's great. I appreciate it. Good. 20 seconds. Good. Eyes on me, please. Right. Let's go. Yes, your name is?
Karen.
Cameron. Pleased to meet you, Cameron. I'm really looking forward to what you guys were focused on this screen. They were seriously like considering. And your name is, sorry?
Paige.
Hello, Paige. Pleased to meet you, Paige.
I would say put yourself first.
Put yourself first. Big one. Amazing. Actually, and we haven't heard that one, have we? No. Put yourself first. Put your own oxygen mask on. Like straight up. That's our first, you know, in our business, like that's our first value internally as a team. I've got to put my own oxygen mask on, even before thinking about Ollie, or thinking about Beth and my COO, or thinking about a business partner. I've got to put my own oxygen mask on. I've got to think about my energy. Because unless I think of that, I can't help anyone, I can't do anything. I can't make better decisions under fire. Thank you. I really appreciate that, bro. Like I love a new one. Let's go. Who's next? Dude, well, let's go. I like it. Double hand up. Like I'm like, let's go. Sleep. Big one. Right, come on. Sleep. We all know it, right? Like we all know it. Who actually said sleep today? Amazing. Amazing. Thank you very much. Sleep is a big thing. Absolutely. We'll talk about that. Go on.
Checking in with your body instead of just staying in your head. So doing a bit of a body scan to see where the aches are, how you're feeling.
So just listening to what's going on. Got a coach over here, haven't we? Like, it's always, I mean, one in practice, beating us to it. Do you know what I mean? No, absolutely. Listening to your body, dialing in and just taking a moment, right? Yes, your name is?
Naza.
Hello, Naza.
Meditation or grounding as well?
Meditation or ground? I had meditation from you. Did I hear meditation from here? Yeah, yeah. Anyone else have meditation? Amazing. Anyone else have gym? Sports? Yeah. Anyone else have nutrition? It's a shady one. So thank you very much for all sharing. This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is basically a pyramid of how us humans achieve our full potential. And we kind of really live by this at Chasing Projects. And the big thing that we're really interested in is this bottom marker, this baseline, which is physiological needs. Before we can move up, before we can start to address our esteem, our love needs, self-actualization, achieving our full potential. Anyone a creative in here? Cool. You get that you're all creatives, right? You get that you're all constantly trying to find creative solutions for life problems. You're all trying to find creative solutions to sell your business, to market your business. You're all trying to find creative solutions to essentially deal with a crappy client or a complaint or something. You're trying to find a creative solution to navigate Tinder and relationships or whatever it may be, right? Like you understand that creativity is a cognitive skill menu. It's a very real cognitive skill menu that we all need access to. But creativity only occurs when we're away from our stress response. Okay, I'm going to talk about that. So creativity is a big thing, so this is where we start, like the basic physiological human needs, right? You guys knew this because you've just said it. Sleep, rest. There is actually more, and then I've put the wrong pyramid up there. So we've got basic physiological needs, right? Which is understand it's movement, it's rest, it's sleep, it's nutrition, it's warmth. And what is that? It's how do we look after our bodies? We've got to look after the system before we get access to anything up here. Does that make sense, guys? You know, it's like physical health is mental health. Psychology is just like unknown physiology, right? There is a very clear two-way direction. I'm going to try and help you guys understand that a little bit better today. Cool? We buying into that? Yeah? So needy of me, isn't it? We get that, right? Like, we get that, right? Like, here we go, affirmation. So, guys, what was our contract?
Trust, empathy, actually listening.
Right? So we're just going to go a slight layer now, and I'm going to ask you guys to share what keeps you up at night. In any relationship, there is always an exchange needed. Okay? Trust is earned, trust is built. So if I'm asking you to potentially share what keeps you up at night with me, I'm going to share what keeps me up at night with you. Two things that are keeping me very clear and up at night at the moment. One is finances. I am 7 to 8 days off potentially losing a very big whale of a client. I put a lot of eggs in one basket to be able to rebuild my business over the last 6 months. I haven't ring-fenced that as well as I usually would. I'm potentially in a very scary place with this client. And if I lose that, it is going to have a very serious effect on my business. So that keeps me up at night, finances. The second one, so guys, I lead with truth and honesty in any space that I walk into as best as I can. And I'm almost shying away. I've shared this one quite a few times now because, you know, it's something that's been quite consistent in my household. And it does keep me up at night. So I could shy away from it, but it is the number one thing that I'm thinking about consistently at night. We've had 2 miscarriages in the last 12 months. And it's just like, damn, it's brought us so close together. Like, it really has. But we're trying again at the moment. And I'm really worried about what if. Like, statistically, it's really in our favor. Like, it's really cool. Like, I'm super excited. But I love my wife. I'm not worried about us, I'm worried about her. They're the things that keep me up at night. They're cool. I'm learning from both of them. Both of them have given me a lot of things back. Now I'm going to ask you guys to share. Now, look, here's the thing. I'm versed in this. I do it for a living. I understand how to protect my energy and give a bit and what I need to keep within me. You guys, you don't have to. What keeps you up at night just might be, hey, like, yeah, just work. And that's it. That's fine. Right? But remember, we've built a container. When you're listening to the person in front of you, let's remember that contract, those 3 things. Hey, it might just be coffee. You say what you feel comfortable with. 60 seconds. Off you go, guys.
My dad would say the dog's barking next door.
It's a big one. It's a big one.
I think it's in the way I understand that stuff.
20 seconds. Good. Eyes on me. who would like to share something that keeps them up at night? Yes, sir.
Slightly different issue, but opportunity.
Woo! Okay.
So we've all got something to look forward to, hopefully.
Yeah.
And it's how do you capitalise on that? How do you make the most of yourself? How do you become the best version of you?
Yeah.
So opportunity is the one thing that keeps me awake. And how do you hone into it?
Wow. Does anyone recognize what he's just said? Hands up, please. What I'm learning, like, it's really interesting because I've never had that answer before.
So mine was actually an inverse of that.
Yes.
Mine was a fear of not achieving what I believe I am
Yeah.
capable
That's my
of.
biggest fear.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, mine was like a more negative version of it.
It's the same kind of thing.
It is
Yeah.
exactly
You know how
the
good
same.
you could be, you might not get it.
Well, hey, absolutely, and this is just language, right? It's super, super interesting. And I heard a real positive thing from there, and it's actually something I really,
Same,
That's the
but
self.
it was the
yeah.
That's an actual like fear.
Yeah. So fear of not maximizing your potential. Okay, damn straight. Hands up. Who's worried about not maximizing their potential? Yeah, you're not alone, right? Like, and that is a big, big thing, like a big bucket is people worrying about, hey, like, am I just going to be the best version of myself? Cool. Well, what is the benchmark of that, by the way? Like, do you know what I mean? Have you met that person? It's a whole other workshop. But thank you very much, and thank you. And an opportunity, like, this is a really interesting thing. Like, we don't have to be think so negative about things. And this is what we're really trying to do within Chasing Projects, is also see the positivity. Like, hey, you know, there's also really good things that keep me up at night as well. Like, when I've been in it all day, in the bunker, like, on this creativity, nailing it, like, smashing down, feeling super motivated, right? Like, and I'm just in that zone, in that flow. And then I'm lying in bed, and I'm like, I am just wired. Like, I'm coming up with more ideas, more ideas, more ideas, more ideas. Right? There is a positive within this as well. Hopefully I'm trying to touch on that a little bit later on. Does anyone else have that though? Like, hey, like, I'm just lying there at night thinking about, like, what's next and creativity and positivity. Anyone? It's always good to know. Thank you. I appreciate that. Next person. Yes. Yeah.
I think for me, I go to bed at night weighing up whether I should stay self-employed or go back to my safety net of the job before, you know, get holiday pay, get sick pay, go out again.
Dudes, like, thank you so much. Like, hands up who sat there thinking about, have I made the right damn decision about this solo life, this limited company life, this entrepreneurial life? Have I thought about that in the last 48 hours? I have. Like, you know what I mean? Straight up. Like, woo, I'm in it right now. My bottom line isn't looking good. So what is the path of least resistance I could take? Is it me giving up, or actually, could there be a benefit to going getting a stable wage? What the hell could I do now? I don't know where I fit in. But do you know what I mean? Like, there's definitely there, and it's worrying about also, did I make the right decisions? You know what I mean? Like, and worrying. So thank you very much for sharing. I'm sure a lot of us understand as people have put their hands up. One more. Yes.
It kind of ties back in with what Mike and Mr. Will were saying earlier, but it's more about a lack of focus and direction, I suppose, like almost an unwillingness to reconcile with being an adult. I know, it's big, but more, you know.
I've got a telephone number you can call. Like, we might need a. Go on.
No, but you know, I don't know if anyone else feels like this, but you kind of wake up one day and you're like, this is the job that I do before I do my proper job, my grown-up job. But except we are all grown-ups and these are our grown-up jobs, and it's trying to reconcile that. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yes. I'm turning 40 in 2 years, like, and I'm definitely having, like, moments of just, oh, this is it. Do you know what I mean? Like, is this it, or is there something, or? Does anyone else kind of feel like that? We all interpret these things in different ways, but anyone else feel like that? Amazing. How was it talking to another human being a second ago? Okay. So, great. Anyone else felt it was great? Anyone enjoyed talking to another human being about what keeps them up at night? Oh, that's funny, that. Cool. Right. So you guys know... We're about to set it up, Ollie. You ready? Are you ready? Now I'm nervous because I'm setting it up too much, right? So we could shut down the show right now, hit the bar, and we're good. Because you have demonstrated the number one tool that you can pick up to improve your mental and physical health, which is share. We are designed as human beings from an evolutionary point of view to connect with other human beings. When you are stressed, you do not just release adrenaline, you release other hormones designed to bring you closer to your tribe. Because you are safer together than out there alone. Pretty cool, yeah? You know that when you're sitting there opposite and talking to someone, you are starting to mirror their physiology. Heart rates, respiratory rate, starting to match. That's pretty cool, right? You should maybe make a note about that one. No, joking. Your physiology is designed to share. You just answered it. How did you feel? Felt pretty good. You ever built up a problem in your head? Run it around your head again and again and again? And then you've gone and spoken to someone about it, and it was like you felt the physical release. Maybe not immediately, but over the following day, 2 days, week, you could feel a shift. It's not just a psychological shift, it's a physiological shift. Pretty cool, right? Well, how do I share? What did we have? Empathy, trust, listening. So you understand the environment that you need to be able to share in. You have humans in your life that love you. That's a very valid question. If you don't, so a lot of people, some people don't. I absolutely valid. A lot of people feel very lonely. We have friends, we have family members, we have potentially colleagues or not colleagues, right? But then maybe some of us don't have people, and I fully understand that. And there are some great organizations out there that are a phone call away. And maybe that person that you approached wouldn't mind you turning around and saying, hey, like, I've got to share something with you right now. I just need you to listen. I need you to show some empathy. Trust. And I need some trust. This is making sense, guys. It's a system. It's a framework right there. And maybe take that framework next time someone else is trying to share with you. We cool? Maybe take the email person of the next person next to you if you get on and say, hey, want to catch up for a coffee next week? I don't know, right? Vulnerability. So, we good with that? We like that? We good with that? I want to hang out with these guys in this room. Right, so what we're talking about here, guys, so let's get into the black and white, and we're going to roll through kind of this, because I genuinely, sometimes I kind of do the workshop where it gets to here. Because it's like, hey, that's one thing, one tool, go away and try and implement that, because it is so powerful. But we obviously want to give you some good voodoo and see what we can kind of come up with in the next 10, 15 minutes. So we talked about the power of sharing. This is the word we really want to get to, right? Like, understanding of this word stress. What do you think when you hear the word stress, guys? Anxiety? Pardon? Out of control? Okay. Anyone else? Negative? Pressure? Anyone else agree with these? Yeah? Creative tension. Ooh, that's strong. Your name is? Hello, Amanda. Thank you very much for that. Creative attention. We need to work on that one. We dissect everything at the end. So we tend to find, when people start talking about stress, and this is what we're really interested in language, there's a lot of negative connotations around stress. And it's very subjective. So I can get into it with you and talk about the anxiety and talk about all this and that, or we can just look at stress from a very black and white point of view. We good with that? Should we just understand what stress is? Because stress is great. Both these animals need stress in their lives to adapt and survive. I work with a great coaching team called Power Speed Endurance. We have the Art of Breath seminars, and we kind of travel around coaching them. Some fantastic forethinkers within the organization, and I actually stole this slide from them. So I'm just saying that out loud because we're getting recording this, so I'll get stick for it. But it's a great thing, and here's the thing. Both these animals are in a state of stress right now. You get that, right? You get that both of them, if you stripped away the picture and you just looked at their biometrics, heart rate, pupil dilation, hormones, respiratory rate, they're both in exactly the same place. There's no difference. You couldn't tell the difference between them. But here's the thing. What is the difference between them? Fight or flight? I would say both are quite fight or flight at the moment. But interesting, I'm not saying you're right, but it's interesting, right? So we'll talk about that, and I'm going to come back to that. Stamina? Who's going to fall first? That's absolutely. Here's the thing that we look at when we look at this is one wants to be there and one doesn't. Both are in a stressful situation right now. Both physiologies are spiked. One is just choosing to be there. One, it doesn't want to be there. Is that making sense? Okay? And here's the thing about stress is, stress isn't going anywhere. We can't avoid it. You get that I am stressed right now. You get that my system is in a second gear, not a first. If a lion ran in here, it would be in a first. I'm talking a lot. I'm generating heat, more heat than if my mouth was closed and I was breathing through my nose, because I'm burning sugars, not fats. I'm moving away from aerobic through energy systems into anaerobic. My engine is working harder. My system is stressed. You know when you go, hands up who goes to the gym? Hands up who's been to a gym? You get when you go to the gym, you're putting your body under stress, right? You get that, you're stressing the muscles, you're stressing the system so it comes back stronger. You get the reason that hopefully my wife wants to have a baby with me is because I'm a good husband. Hi, Boo. I was talking to you, Steve. I'm joking. But the reason I'm a good husband, why am I a good husband? Because I've been through a lot of shitty, stressful relationships, and I've learnt. I've adapted and I've grown. I'm stressed about money right now, right? Does it affect my performance to a degree? Does it keep me up at night to a degree? But you know what? I chose to be self-employed. I made this choice. So do I either kick the shit out of myself about it and let it affect my performance, or do I realize that I made a choice to be here? It's part of my job. Any of you client-facing, candidate-facing, people-facing, human-facing, cool. Any of you got really pissed off when a human being at the other end of the phone hasn't done what you want them to do? Yeah, cool. How many of you sell products to other humans? Cool. You get that it's part of your job. You get that you're not just dealing with like a washing machine that's stagnant and stays there. You're dealing with a human being who, like you, has a personal life and challenges and isn't a great communicator on occasion and can't express how they feel and might have had a bad day. But you get that you chose to be in a career where you deal with human beings. So as part of that, you have to accept that they are going to not do what you want. You get that, right? You understand that. stimulus response. You're just like, fuck that candidate, or fuck this client, fuck it, That's your response. In the middle lays choice. The way that you are going to get better at client flow, the way you're going to get better at managing your finances, the way you're going to get better at marketing is by doing. You don't just learn like that. You get that, right? It doesn't just come to you. You can read books, but you've still got to put it into practice. A kid's got to fall off a bike before it learns to ride it. Right? Stress is not going anywhere. The Northern Line will be delayed. Deal with it, because do you know what? You get to live in a city where you have access to that. And if you want to use that, be aware that sometimes it's not going to go your way. You can choose to be pissed off, but how does that affect your performance throughout the rest of the day? I build operators, people who stay calm and focused under fire. People who can adapt to any situation and any environment. With me? Ain't easy. That's called work. Do you know what I mean, right? Like that's called work. That's called practice. So stressful situations always occur. They're always going to happen. Amazing. Bring it on. You know, I'm secretly hoping my business will go under. Straight up. Seriously, I'm almost priming it. I have to be careful to take a step back. Because I think, what about the lessons that lay on the other side of that? Right? You ask any venture capitalist, any private equity firm who they will invest in, they will genuinely invest in the people who've lost the business beforehand. Why? Because they can watch the movie. They can see how this person has done. And they understand that they have drawn lessons from that. It's a very generous statement. I know it's been your industry, but kind of with me on that a little bit. But does that make sense, guys? Right? Okay, so stress is going to be in our lives no matter what. So, like, okay, cool, Chev, I'm kind of half bought onto that. I get it. What do I do with it? Well, you understand about rest. Stress is a call to action. Stress is a point where your body gives you access to physiological tools, where there is blood flowing to your brain, so you have access to be able to get through a situation and navigate it. I'm out here before and I'm feeling anxiety. Am I feeling anxiety? Or am I just kind of, my body, is it preparing me to perform? I'm not negating the anxiety conversation. I'm just saying, how are we framing these things? Crippling anxiety is a very real thing. But I'm just trying to help you understand some black and white elements to this. I want access to adrenaline. I want access to my heart going a little bit faster. I want that blood flowing through my body. When I'm in the game and I'm there and I'm taking shots from clients and people and I'm trying to get back to this, like, do you think I want to be in a fifth gear zen? Right? I need to be in the game, in the hustle, operating under fire. I need to be moving. I need to be thinking. I need to be doing. That doesn't happen if I'm sitting in a yoga studio burning some bloody fucking candles and incense. You get it, right? The problem is we just don't understand that, hey, stress is a call to action. It puts our body into a kind of a gear where we can start to perform. What we don't understand is how to shift gears. We don't understand on a micro level how to go from stress to rest, from fight, flight, or freeze to rest and recovery. We think it's two ends of the crazy spectrum, right? Like, I work all day, and then I get 5 hours sleep, and that's it. You're missing so much opportunity throughout the day to shift that dial subtly. When you are in a physiological state of rest, that is when you start to make adaptations. When you're in the gym, you don't get stronger when you're lifting the weights. You get stronger over the following days. I've got a really bad problem. Cool, sleep on it. How did you feel the next day? I kind of processed it a little bit. Well, yeah, because your body, once it's in a place of rest, starts to process. Is this making sense, guys? Stress to rest. we don't know how to transition. And we've got it all mixed up. We don't know how to shift gears. That's Dudley. Don't R him. So that's the Hammer of Hither Green, the Slayer of Sydenham. My absolute pain in the arse. Dogs are good for mental health. Yeah. Puppies are not. And not ones that are just like strong as an ox. I want a big proper dog. No, I don't. So it's a really interesting thing because this is what I mean by stress as well. It's like we've got it kind of maybe slightly confused as to when we're stressed, like, and also the tools that we use to combat stress. We've got to understand that there's no difference between, lost the word, nutritional stress, physical stress, life stress, training stress. From the neck down, your body doesn't know the difference. Dudley, do you say he looks pretty happy there? You say he's been through a bit of a stressful situation. Can you see how his kind of system's pushed? You get that he's been pulling on the same resources pretty much as these guys to chase a ball. I go to the gym and I do spin 5 times a week. Cool, what, you think that's not stress? You get that, right? I start running and I start running for 3-4 weeks and I stop and I don't know why. Maybe it's your subconscious saying, hey, you don't need any more stress in your life. A purely physiological state, that's all I'm trying to get you guys to understand. Are you with me? So it's how we frame stress as well and the tools that we use, and again, how we transition. How we get back to a state of rest. So the key thing that we have to think about within this, guys, is awareness. How do I know when I'm stressed? How do we know when we're stressed? Heart rate. Short of breath. Poor decisions. Because you know that when we're stressed, right, we start to look for the fastest solution, not the best solution. Because when we're in a physiological state of stress, when we're in first or second gear, the quickest solution makes complete sense if a lion ran in here right now. It doesn't make sense if I'm trying to solve a business problem or a family problem. You know, I talked about self-actualization when we get access to different tools. When we're in a state of rest is when we get access to creativity. It's when we get access to cognitive skill menus. So the big thing that we're going to kind of wrap up on is understanding that awareness. Like, how do we know, right? Like, we can tell the physiological signs, like, absolutely. But there's another thing as well, and the story that I use is I kind of entered into the city at the age of 18, completely lost, had strong abandonment issues, started working in an investment bank on a trading floor for kind of a few years. Didn't know what I was doing. Pretty sure I'm responsible for the credit crunch. Like, absolutely. Like, I apologize now. And I did that, and I went down the pub, and I never really got on with guys. Like, I got on with girls much better. I didn't understand how to navigate male situations. And I found superhero powers in the form of alcohol. Like, it gave me an identity. And then alcohol gave me access to something else, which was cocaine. That's the first time I've heard that before. I was like, doesn't sound that dramatic, but yeah, cool, we'll run with that. You know, I absolutely cleaned up the city for well over a decade. I went hard. Like, absolutely hard. And at the age of 27, I realized I needed to make change. Just because you know you need to make change doesn't mean you have the fucking access to the tools to understand how to do so, right? So then three years later, at the age of 30, I was looking in the mirror. I saw death looking back at me. It was Christmas Day morning. I'd been up 4 days. I had a big pile of Coke next to me. The family were coming around. I remember looking at how grey I was. And at that moment in time, I realized I needed to stop thinking about the macro and I needed to start thinking about the micro. Because, you know, everyone else is like, you know, got houses and in relationships and doing really well. And I was living in the future and I wasn't living in the present. And I was also being dealt like the past. But I thought, let me think about today. What do I need to do today? And do you know what I started to do? I started to listen to my body. And I remember I bought out Time Out's top country walks. Like 30 country walks. I know, right? I've never gone hiking. I've never gone this. But at that moment in time, that is what my inside view presented to me. It was like, hey, you need movement and exercise in your life. Our inside view is consistently trying to narrate what we need. You understand that, guys? Hands up if in the last 2 months you've said you really need a holiday. Yay! Whatever, get out. That's not how you make friends in this room right now. It's a very clear signal that there's probably too much stress in your life. And you're telling yourself, hey, I need some rest. Any of you sitting here right now kind of starting to get a little bit tight, thinking about moving, wanting to stand up, right? You get that millions of years of genetics and evolution, movement is a tool that we need as human beings. 145 minutes of walking in a week has similar mental health benefits as antidepressants for some people. Have any of you said that I really need to get back down the gym? Have any of you said, like, oh, I really probably need to start eating a little bit healthier? Any of you said that I really, really need to get to bed early tonight? Any of you said I really need a drink? But what do you think these cues are? It's so simple, but it's your inside view narrating to you and telling you exactly what you need to service your physiological needs. When you service them, you move up the pyramid. When I was out on the country walks and I was halfway up a mountain in Guildford, it's like a hill in Guildford. It was like a tiny little hill. It wasn't a mountain, but I forgave my dad. I let go. Any of you ever been walking down a beach before and thought about a problem to life or felt a little bit better after a walk through the woods? You get that's not a wishy-washy psychological feeling. That's your physiology responding to environment. And then as you are shifting from stress to rest, your body is giving you access to cognitive skill menus for you to press. Have any of you sat at your desk all day, lost in a problem, and then gone for a walk and found a solution? Access to cognitive skill menus when you've shifted from stress to rest. You have all the tools that you need in your life. You just need to hear. I'm not saying that they will solve the mummy and daddy issues. And this is the gray area, right? But what I'm saying is if you start to service your physiological needs, evolution, your subconscious, will start to give you access to cognitive skill menus to be able to make better decisions on a macro and a micro scale. You with me on that? Okay. So, the thing that we talk about here ultimately is what we're coming at is as we start to understand how to navigate behind stress and rest between the two, we're understanding how to manage our energy needs. And I'm not talking about wishy-washy, hippy-dippy energy. I'm talking about the fact that you run on calories. 20% of the calories that you consume go to your brain and your nervous system. You understand that you only have a certain amount of willpower, self-control, and focus to give in a day. You can measure it in a laboratory. It depletes. Decision fatigue. You are constantly making decisions like, damn straight, put your hands up again if you've really struggled to get back down the gym. If you've really struggled to keep the hands up, put your hands up if you've really struggled to eat healthy. Put your hands up, keep your hands up if you've really just struggled to be able to spend time with friends and family. Right? It's like there's all these things and we're struggling and it's kind of who's kicking the shit out of themselves because of it? I'm just failing at another thing. You're not failing, you just don't necessarily understand what's going on underneath the hood. Have you ever decided that you're going to eat really healthy in the morning? And then you've stood at Tesco's or Sainsbury's or Lidl or wherever the hell you go, or you've been just looking at Deliveroo, scrolling through Uber Eats, and you just can't make a decision. Yeah? Hands up. Can't make a choice. Hands up if you've got a partner, bless you. Hands up if you've got a partner and you've sat there in bed or on your couch or whatever, arguing about what to watch on Netflix because you just can't make a decision. You get to the weekend and I don't want to have to make another decision. You think that you're failing, that you're lacking some like mystic motivation. You're not failing, you just don't understand how energy depletes that throughout the day. You with me? It's not you failing when you're standing there not being able to pick what to eat. You just don't understand that you have used up all your self-control, willpower, and focus on other things. This is why when I work with operators at a senior level, I set them up so they're making one decision in a day. How many decisions are you making as a self-employed human being? Millions. You're depleting that. So the more you start to understand that, so let's look at the food as the example, and this is where I start to leave it, but looking at the food as the example, so hey, okay, cool, now I understand that. How can I make better decisions around food? Now I understand that. Well, maybe have a good sleep on the weekend, do your shopping on the weekend, food prep, so you don't have to make a decision. The reason you reach for sugar is because glucose is the fastest acting source of fuel for your brains. It's craving energy to help you make decisions. You with me, guys? Yeah? I just like to drill that home because it's the final thing is just understanding that. Have we had some things to think about today? Yeah? I've got honestly, I've got about 2/3 of the way through this. You guys have been really great. You feel your energy levels depleting though, right? You feel how I'm losing you as a room. Because your self-control and willpower to be able to keep your masks up is being depleted. That is me. Whenever I walk into the room, I just try and ignite some thought processes in people. It's from Dan Coyle's Talent Code. This is a great book to read. You guys want to learn new skills? What lays in the middle is practice, stress. But it's learning how to transition between stress and rest as best as possible. I believe I've left that really open today. But remember, this is where failure occurs. This is where you are right now. No, not failing, but it's in the questions that we ask ourselves. Do you know what I mean? Like you're in this space right now. And do you lean in and do you keep going? Or do we lean out and change direction? And it's really important that we understand that as human beings, that we look for the path of least resistance. I did a BBC One TV show 2 years ago. I took 10 people with mental health conditions to the London Marathon. It was a complete success on BBC One, award-winning, Nick Knowles, Royal Family. I'd done it. I'd gone from drug addict in 2 years to BBC One. Wow. The second airing of the airing of the second episode at 10 o'clock that night, as the credits rolled, I took my first antidepressant pill. How's that for logic, right? And I was 3 months off marrying my beautiful wife. And ultimately what I figured out was that I was in a chronic state of stress. I'd gone from addiction to new business to trying to set it up to make it work, and then I'd be 6 months of filming on a BBC One TV, right? It was chaos. And I spent the following 9 to 10 months shifting into a state of rest, taking things a lot easier, and that's a whole other story. And I felt 10 months later like I don't really like human beings, but I wanted company. So I was like, I'll get a puppy. And I got a puppy. I got Dudley, and in the first few weeks I showed red mist. Scared the shit out of me because I'm scared of being like my dad. And I saw my dad in me. So I spent about the following year leaning out from him. I didn't want to be there. I operated at a very low level with him. And then I got an opportunity the back end of last year to go traveling because of a role with a job. There was a lot of travel, so I got the opportunity to bring to the table getting rid of him and rehoming him. But it's a benefit for him, not me. I'm a salesman of 10 years, and I sold that to my wife. Instantly, I saw my wife is the sum of her experiences. Her old man had left her. So there I was, this representation of fatherhood in my marriage, and I'm trying to walk away from it. My biggest fear is not being angry like my dad. My biggest fear is abandoning my kids like my dad did with me. I was living this out. Is that with me? So I had a choice at that stage. Do I lean out or do I lean in? Do I want to be a good father in the future? I've got to go through the stress to get there. And this is why I leave this, because as much as I've spoken about black and white today, we are all the sum of our shit. Right? And it's as easy as I've said stuff today, there's a lot of work to be done if you want to make change. But realize that on the other side of frustration is you learning a new skill. Guys, it's 8:03. I've overrun. It was just because it was so good at the beginning. Like, your energy was really on point. Like, I really value that. And I'd like to give you the space because you're giving it back to me. I'll be around for the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes. If you've got questions, come and give me a shout. I've got business cards over there as well. We do a lot of free workshops, so we're doing stuff on all different kinds of narratives. If you want to come along, you're more than welcome to come along. We can dig into some of this stuff deeper. And if I've really sparked something in you and you want to talk about it, come and have a coffee with me. My time is your time. You just got to come to my office because traveling out is not much. But I'm based over in Old Street. Always come and have a chat. All right? Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.